I'd like to call the meeting to order for our budget planning session tonight. And would everyone please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we have a busy night tonight with a lot of presentations scheduled, so we're going to get moving right into that part of our agenda. And our first item on the agenda is for our court-appointed special associates, advocates, CASA, and Ms. Barstow.
Good evening, up here.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you.
And do I press this or is it already on?
Yeah, it should be on.
Okay, great. Well, good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to talk to you tonight. I want to just give you a brief update about our work and what your contribution is funding in our work with Northern Net CASA. I'm Amory Bairstow. I'm the relatively new director of CASA. I started here almost a year ago after following in the footsteps of Betty Worth, who headed the organization for 19 years. As I'm sure you know, what we do at CASA is we recruit and train volunteers to work with children whose families are involved in the court system. So most commonly abuse and neglect cases, but we also get involved sometimes in difficult court cases, custody cases. And then we also have what we call a CHINS, which is a child in need of services, which can be a kid who's justice involved or somebody maybe needs mental health services. So we serve all 5 counties of the Northern Neck. Our offices are here in Lancaster across the street. This is where we got our start, which will be 25 years ago this July. This year, so far this year, our fiscal year ends at the end of June. We've had 17 cases with 21 children. We've had 7 of those cases closed this year, including 3 in Lancaster. Because we have to obviously keep everything confidential, I can only speak in pretty vague generalities. And I've learned the hard way that in the Northern Neck, you have to be very careful because people can sometimes figure it out, even if you think you're being very vague. But we've had some really good success stories here in Lancaster this year. We had a youth who aged out of care, but was able to get connected to some really excellent services. So I'm very cautiously optimistic for their future. We had another case, which was a really nasty custody dispute, and I have to give a lot of kudos to our advocate. He did some extensive research, and I really think it's going to be a better outcome, not just for the child, but also for the parents. And then we had another case where we've had a seasoned advocate working with these parents for years, and they've had a lot of difficulties, but they really seem to have gotten things together and now have custody of their children back again, and that's kind of the joy of this work. It's not all sunshine and roses. We do have 2 really difficult cases in Lancaster as well that we have advocates working with. In addition to that work, we've made a bunch of changes this year. We've upgraded our technology, welcomed some new board members, expanded our professional developments for staff, and done some great trainings for our advocates. We had a really great training from the Free Clinic, which I think is here tonight, with their peer support specialists, which is really helpful. And as I said, we're celebrating our 25th year this year. We're going to have an open house in September. Details will be forthcoming, but you can all attend. Also, I know that the following me is Claudette Henderson, who's the vice chair of our board, and I'm crossing my fingers that she will agree to be chair when our current chair steps down in June. So you guys, if you can all help me encourage her to take that on. And then I just want to thank you, like I said, for your ongoing support of Northern Net CASA, and I'm happy to take any questions if you have any.
Okay, any questions? Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, everyone, you see the request in there is $5,000, level funding with last year. Is
Approved.
good? Okay.
I'm agreeable with that.
Everyone good? Okay, all right, thank you. All right, next on our agenda is Dr. Claudette Henderson with Social Services. Thank you.
Good evening, Chair
Hello.
Geezy and the rest of the board. I don't have a PowerPoint tonight. Y'all know who I am and what we do down the street. So I know you, and what's the local match? You have my budget request in front of you, but I will let you know up front. So this year, the local match would be $1,205,802.39, with a state match of $1,238,923.15. And the federal match is $2,084,866.53, for a total budget of $4,529,592.07. And this is an overall increase of only 6% over last year. And I've been able to leverage the budget because we had some people who had been there for a long time and was making big salaries. They have left. And I further leverage it by doing emergency hires when I can. And when supervisors leave, I do use interim supervisors. So I try to leverage all of our monies as best I can. Any questions?
Anyone have any questions?
I don't.
All right,
Just appreciate all you do.
Yep.
Thank you.
thank you. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
All right. Do we have a consensus on this, or any discussion? You good?
Yes.
Okay, got a consensus on that, all right. Thank you all. All right, next on our agenda is Matt Smith with Emergency Services.
All right. I've got a couple accounts to get through. I submitted several requests along with the associated narratives to go along with that. So I'll start off with the fiscal year 27 Volunteer Rescue Squad's contribution. So this is just an increase of 5% towards their annual contribution that they receive. That's just to account for the increased cost of vehicle maintenance, fuel. Everything is high right now. Is there any questions on that?
Matt, I did have one question. I saw an entry in there that was new this year for the Gloucester Emergency Shelter, the homeless shelter. Do we use that shelter as far as that, or?
Are you talking about guests?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. I haven't done anything with them in the past.
Okay.
That was, I noticed that as well. That was the first time I'd really seen anything on them.
okay.
It's the first time they've requested money from
Requested
the
any
county.
money, yeah.
And Linda Hodges will be here Thursday night to address the board.
So we'll ask her then. Okay, all right.
Now, we all talking about that $5,000.
Correct.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Thank you, Matt.
All right, so on to the next one. So with, the next one I have is the increased contribution for the volunteer fire departments. Same as the previous, everything has just gotten sky high. The cost of operation is through the roof. And what we're trying to do is provide enough financial support and comfort that they can put more towards their firefighting practice and put more into what they actually do on a day-to-day and take some of the fundraising stress off of it. There are several representatives sitting in the back if you have any specific department or questions for them.
I guess, well, they're here, so I'd love to hear from them and how they would be using, and we're way ahead of schedule, by the way, so we need to slow it down, but I'd love to hear how they would be using it, because I'm certainly not a fire expert, so I don't know what's involved.
Matt, while they coming up, the fire departments, because I think one time, Don, you had it broken out
it wasn't distributed equally.
It's not exactly equal. The Upper Lancaster Fire Department
So they're
gets,
not incorporated.
gets about 10,000 and change more than Kilmarnock and Whitestone, and the reason is because of the state funds.
Yeah.
There's state funding for Whitestone and Kilmarnock because there are other political jurisdictions within their run area. Kilmarnock has the town of Kilmarnock, also has Northumberland County, a piece of that in their run area, first run area, and Whitestone has the town of Irvington and the town of Whitestone in their first run area, and Upper Lancaster doesn't have any extra political jurisdiction. So several years ago, the powers that be of the three departments said, okay, give Upper Lancaster a little bit extra because they don't have that extra state money coming in. And that's the way we've carried forward with it. You know, I don't know if things may change, but that's the way it's been in the past.
How y'all doing? My name's Charles Brocklebank. I'm chief of the Whitestone Volunteer Fire Department. And to reiterate what Matt said, cost is certainly rising on everything. To outfit a single member is well over $5,000 just in gear. That has nothing to do with the air pack they put on to go into a house. 5 years ago, we purchased a brand new engine at $650,000, and we thought that was just through the roof. Right now, that same truck is just north of $1 million. So prices are definitely going up, and they're hindering us. What's more important than the physical in the trucks, the gear, are the individuals that are there to support our community. And what we found, especially in the last few years, is our focus is shifting less from protecting our community into where's our next dollar coming from. And we're doing our due diligence to come up with new and creative ways to raise money. And we're asking so much of our community on top of the tax dollars they spend every year on property tax and so forth and so on. They keep coming to our fundraisers. We dip into that bucket a lot, and they keep supporting us. And if they decide not to, come to the waterfowl show or come to the carnival or go to the shrimp and oyster dinner at Upper Lancaster, then we're in trouble. So we realize that fundraising is not going to go away, and it's just something that's going to be a part of our life. But like Matt said, it would be nice to not put so much emphasis on the fundraising and start getting back to a little bit more of what we do, which is which is protecting the community. 75% of our active membership is lifetime members, and tomorrow they could all decide to just go home and their membership isn't affected. It's not popular to be a member of a volunteer organization like the fire department because it puts such a strain on the individual. That's time away from your family, your relationship, your wife. And it really does just take a special person to do what we do. We're not going anywhere. We're going to be here. And we're going to find a way to do what we need to do. But it would be a lot of help to us if we could get just that little bit more support from y'all. We appreciate your time and listening to us. Any questions?
How about with the upgrade that we have coming with our radio system, does that affect you? Do you need special radios?
Yes, and I think you would be more of a help on that. We got to replace everything.
So how does that work? Do we pitch in for that, or is that strict?
Everything's already covered.
Okay.
Yeah, we've already got the new radios in the trucks, but we'll need all new handhelds and also pagers, and Matt's been helping out with that.
So Matt, the pagers and the would you say the additional
The
radios?
handheld radios are ones that you can actually talk on.
We're taking care of that as well.
Yeah, everything's already in stock.
And we have another system called Iron Responding, which also it costs money to operate, but it also utilizes your cell phone to dispatch the call. And we can also go on that app and tell people we're responding, because sometimes your pager may be out of range, which hopefully this is going to help a whole lot. But that helps us out in a situation where you can't have your pager on you, or you're just out of range or whatnot. Anything else?
I just appreciate all you guys do.
Well, we appreciate y'all, and like I said, we're not going anywhere. This isn't us saying up here, you know what, we just don't know where to turn. We're gonna find a way, but the help would be greatly appreciated.
Yep.
Thank y'all very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Joe.
So Matt, what we're looking at is probably around $100,000.
So it's a $111,454 increase over last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, the equal split should be 175.
You mean
What's
a
that?
piece?
Yep.
Yes.
What was that?
If we split it equally, it would be $175,000 per department. I guess that's one question I want to ask, because I know, and Danny, I know you walked in later, but, you know, years ago, because Kilmarnock and Whitestone got a little extra money because they had, you know, like the towns in their districts, the Upper Lancaster Fire Department got $10,000 and change more per year than Kilmarnock and Whitestone. And that's the way it's been for many years. Is that still and these fire departments get along great. They get along better than they ever have before.
Yeah, you wanna know what you did? Yeah. You know what you did, we just figured it out the other day.
Yeah, I mean, but is that still the way that it needs to be done, or do you want to do it?
You wanna explain?
Well, what happened on the other?
Come on up here to the microphone.
I'll go with you. Because I go back in the day where I know what the deal was, and then I know what the deal ended up being.
That was true.
Yeah.
What?
And don't say I did it, it was my predecessor.
No, I meant you. The arrangement was, so Department of Fire Programs has an Age of Localities Fund, which is basically a grant fund. And if you have an incorporated town, then you get funds, which are now $15,000 a year. And when I first started doing it, it was 6, and it went to 8 and 10. So we have the luxury of having 2 towns within our limits. But the town has the ability, the locality, to decide how they want to disperse the money. In our case with Irvington, Irvington takes their 15, gives 10 to their first due, which is us, and gives 5 to Kilmarnock, who is their second due responding. Whitestone gives us the full 15. Upper Lancaster doesn't have an incorporated town. So years ago, when we first came to the table with this, now, of course, they are very specific about what you can buy with that money. It can only fall under certain categories. So we're limited by that, but we need those things. So instead of us using our money to buy those things, we can use the grant money. So what happened was, the original deal was that we all agreed that it wasn't fair necessarily for Upper Lancaster that they didn't serve an incorporated town. So we were going to get our part evenly through the county, through fire programs, for the county funding, and that the county was going to make up that one locality fire programs money to them. Instead, what happened was everything was done as a whole, and it was divided. The money came out of the other 2/3 to give Upper Lancaster the extra money. So it was taken from Whitestone and Kilmarnock to give to Upper Lancaster. And that wasn't how it was supposed to have been done. We didn't realize that, but we went and looked at the records, and I pulled what we get per month, and we pulled what Upper Lancaster got per month, and that's what's happened. We're grateful for every penny, but that's not what we thought the deal was going to be, and we went blindly not realizing that was the case. So what I would like to see, if obviously I'm biased in this because I'm a member of the fire department, is it revert back to what we thought the original arrangement was, and that would be that the fire programs money to make Upper Lancaster whole comes out of the greater good of the county's budget and not necessarily from us. If that doesn't sound,
Don, that's what I thought we did.
but I can tell you
So
that's
these
what's
is
happened.
Lighten me, because I remember when all this happened.
Yeah.
And I thought that's what we was.
And I think it's just how it ended up
Yeah, I
being
just
done.
think-
Nobody did that on purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody said, we're gonna fool these bunch of rednecks. It was It just ended up happening that way. But when you look at it on paper, that's what happened. So, but you are right, that aid to localities money is good, and I was always worried that it may go away, but so far in my 20-year tenure at this post, it has increased. There's some form of arrangement through the insurance companies is how it works. But we wanted to be fair to everybody, so.
So what is that dollar amount?
They give 15,000 per, and of course, the county gets its own chunk. And that is distributed amongst us, of which Upper Lancaster does get an even cut.
And that's about 35.
But the extra part for town of Irvington, town of Whitestone, town of Kilmarnock goes to the towns specifically, and they can decide to give it to. In all honesty, which Irvington has made a point to let us know this over the years, they could give it to the rescue squad if they wanted to. You know, it doesn't have to be used for fire departments. And what they've done with Kilmarnock is certainly fair because Kilmarnock assists them as well. But Upper Lancaster is not able to benefit from that particular grant because of their geographic limitation.
Because the metropolis of Lively is not an incorporated town.
Yes, it's not. Exactly. So, so that was the part. I'm glad you brought it up, Don, and because that goes back years ago. But I just wanted you to know what was happening, and we are absolutely. I didn't hear Charles's thing because y'all got earlier than I thought you were going to get. But just to give you an idea, our building payment per year in Whitestone, our building payment per year, our truck repayment on the current truck we have at $3,000 per month, and our insurance, we pay $4,000, $6,000 plus quarterly installment payments for all of our insurance, including our umbrella, our automotive, and everything. All right, so it's 20. We pay 24. We pay $12,000 accident and sickness policy, which for us, we put the place of workers' comp. We don't have to carry workers' comp, but this is an equivalent to it. Workers' comp got to be outrageously priced. All right, because what the state does is they associate a salary to every volunteer fireman, and we pay workers' comp on that like you would in your own business. And that number was getting into the $25,000 range. So we went, some municipalities like City of Hampton and big cities, they actually do their own workers' comp. They are self-insured. We did a accident and sickness policy, which covers a great deal of those costs, and it's actually better for us because workers' comp, you have to wait before you can file your first claim. This, the first week out, you can claim. The only caveat is workers' comp has lifetime medical for an injury. We're capped out at $500,000 in our policy. So that's the downside. I mean, we always joke, you know, the insurance company would rather see you expire than have you live injured. So our insurance is 36, the truck repayment is 36, and our building payment per year annum is 60,300. So that's 132,000 in 3 line items. We haven't even gotten to fire protection yet, all right, except for the truck. And I know you guys are numbers people, but if you're looking at 125 now, 175 is the current ask, just put it in context. You know what Dominion costs. You know what Aqua costs. You know what it costs for your, I guess you heard Charles when he talks about gear and air packs. And so we're very appreciative, or I am very appreciative of it. But I don't know how deeply into this you guys get from where you sit, other than you understand conceptually that we're trying to provide a service which we love doing and we think is of value to the community. And just to use raw numbers, try to help put that in perspective.
Yeah, we're not going to go that deep, but we do.
And we're happy to provide more depth.
We do understand the business, and we know what it costs to run a fire department. And so.
But Don, I'm certainly glad CD came up there because I thought that's what we did.
Yeah, we thought so too, Mr. Lee. And then we actually figured it out the other night with Matt when we were meeting to kind of come up with this game plan. And he did the math, and I said, I know we get $11,097 a month. I can tell you. That's exactly.
And Ryan was there.
And so did Kilmarnock. And then Danny said, no, we get this per month. And I'm like, well, that tells me right there. That's how that went down.
Yeah, and like I said, it was my predecessor who had that all set up, and we've just continued down the road. But I think we got 2 paths that we could go to solve this and make it back right. Either take the 15,000 from the 525 and then split the difference equally between the three departments, we'll just add 15,000 to the 525, and it would be 175,000 per department, and then the county adds the 15,000.
I think add the 15, I don't want to take anything
to
else
Upper Lancaster.
away from it.
And we're not up here to try to nickel and dime. I don't want you to think that, and we're very appreciative.
Add it to the 525?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we'll be, so just so everybody's on the same page, what I'm hearing is it'll be $175,000 per department. And then Upper Lancaster will get an extra 15 from the county because.
Right, because we get the extra ATL
Yeah.
kick.
From the.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
That's
And
what
then
I'm-
our other agreement was if that were ever to be diminished through the grant or the grant go away, then it would be relatively applied to Upper Lancaster.
Right, that's right.
Right? All right, sorry, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You gonna adjust the final line?
What's that?
Are you gonna adjust the final line? Do you need anything else?
No, I mean, I think
we're-
everybody's good on
Yeah.
on what we just talked about, so Matt can move on to EMS now.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Technically, we have 3 different accounts. I'm just going to group everything into one, just due to time. So 2025, another busy year, 2,629 calls for us. Average response time was 11 minutes, 25 seconds. 5th year in a row at over 2,000 calls. Countywide, including Kilmarnock Volunteer and Upper Volunteer, brings our countywide total to 2,892 EMS calls for 2025. So we have substantially grown our call volume wise just since COVID started. So, and currently there's no downward trend. We're pretty much month to month staying on the same track. 2025, we also received the American Heart Association Mission Lifeline EMS Gold Award. It's our 8th time winning this award. We're also on track for 2026 for that. We had one of our most challenging projects completed, created our own in-house pharmaceutical program. We also completed a local emergency medical technician course in which 10 students passed the class and are eligible to seek certification. I believe 4 have already done so. Emergency management side was mostly just kind of monitor systems. We were able to kind of get back into a lot of community engagement and kind of re-engage a lot of the stakeholders. So part of that was, so in May, our deputy coordinator at the time, who primarily served as a paramedic, Craig Moore, retired completely. And in September, we were able to bring on Christopher Bruce as the full-time deputy coordinator. So for years and years, this has just kind of been pushed to the side. So with the addition of Chris Bruce, he's been able to get us caught up at the state level, kind of get everything in check and start getting a lot of the programs and plans kind of re-engaged. So that's been a tremendous help. And then notice that during the storms, he's able to only focus on storm response and not have to worry about covering an ambulance shift. So that's been a tremendous help so far. Busiest response district is Kilmarnock Rescue Squad. Is district, that's pretty, Northumberland First Due, which is that lower section up to Wacomico Church. We only did 64 calls this year, so we had a couple reductions there. Revenue recovery, for fiscal year 25, the end total was $398,124.51. Our year to date, as of at least January, was $297,290.63. So our revenue recovery compared to last year is kind of getting back on track from what it was before. Everything is lining up, and as Don can tell you too, the PDC Revenue Recovery Board just continues to expand, and they're doing a really good job for us. So the primary goal and objective for 2024 is staff recruitment and retention. This has really been the focus kind of every year, keeping staff, keeping competition, bringing in benefits that assist keeping people here and getting our staffing roster up to date. One thing in the personnel worksheet is I left the 2 remaining full-time slots that have kind of been over there because we've essentially been doing one-for-one swaps. However, April 1st, we'll fill the basic life support position and go to 15 people. And then I have a pending advanced life support, which would bring us back to where we were in 2014 at 16 people while handling 40% more coverage. So hopefully that gets us back on track there. Another big improvement too, I was able to fill my position that had been vacant for 8 years. I was able to hire up the operations captain that's been on here for the past 2 years. That's been a huge help. I think one of the things introduced before is changing our staff to the Virginia Retirement Hazardous Duty Supplement System. That's a big attractor to not only keep people here, but bring people in. For example, my ALS applicant comes from the city of Fairfax, and that's one of the first things he asked was, are we eligible? So it really helps kind of bring that recruitment and helps keep people here, and also provides a decent stipend, once they do retire. So that was one. I did reduce the education. So if you remember, we bumped the education up to cover the cost of the EMT class. I took away from the textbook portion, but kept the tuition. That's just so we could assist people as they kind of progress through the RCC system. So it gives us a little bit of leeway to assist anybody that might not get financial aid that needs tuition assistance. And in return, people will commit to a year. That's what that line is for. For salaries, I presented a 5% salary increase that keeps us relatively in line across the district. Also for base pay is $1 at each position. That will keep us pretty much in line with what I heard from everybody else doing. Outside of that, we don't really have much changes. I did pick up on an error from the first draft that I sent out, line 323018207. The local amount, I think with the version I included was 9,000. That should have been 15. So I sent a revised version to Don earlier on that. All of the other changes are really just associated with higher costs. The increase for 8207, the vehicle equipment and supplies, that's for biomedical products. So particularly, it's a device that helps us putting the tube in people's airways. So ours are no longer manufactured, so we have to. So with that, I just stuck it in that line versus putting it in capital improvement because it was going to be less than 10,000. So that's where that increase comes from. And for 32301, that is really all I have. Do you have any questions on that one?
I have any questions?
Matt, you said that the 5% would keep the pay in line with, you said in the district with other counties. What, is that the Northern Neck you're speaking of?
Yeah, Northern Neck.
So we're competitive with Westmoreland?
Yeah, right now we're all pretty much together. Unless they do something drastic during their budget process, we're all pretty much in the same flow. So I talked to pretty much everyone local fairly regularly, and we're all on the same page. So everybody's essentially dealing with the same thing, staffing crisis. You have people, right now we have 3 full-timers out, 2 until October and 1 until possibly June of next year. And it's the same thing kind of all over. So one thing John Bateman's been really working on is trying to essentially get us a pipeline of providers. So working with workforce development, working with the high school, several other programs, trying to just get a funneling system and kind of create essentially a pathway for them to get paid while they get certified and then have a job that they can commit for at least a year at the end. And so far, a lot of people are on board, and we're trying to get, not only new providers, but also offer a path that people want to go from basic life support to advanced life support as easy as possible. And a lot of the restraint on that is financial restraint. So between RCC has been a really good partner. We've had a couple of local options pop up. And a lot of people are kind of pushing for that right now. So the funding has been out there and been really decent for that. But that's one thing we are trying to work together on, is to essentially stay in the same page, in the same line, kind of bring the enhancements for each providers, and then also kind of create that pipeline to have personnel in the future.
And then how about recruiting? How do we recruit? Are we in the schools?
So right now, we actually sent Upper Lancaster Rescue went up there, Elijah Lewis, and did a presentation to the high school. And then outside of that, working with Mary Catherine to kind of get the idea pushed in, and then take on anybody that might be interested and feed them to the correct resources on how they can either join one of the volunteer departments and then kind of engage in that career field if they choose.
Well, I would say that this board is a board that thinks outside of the box. And that's one thing I do like about the board, is that we think differently, and just because something has been done a certain way doesn't mean that's the right way, and we're willing to change that. And so something for all of us to think about is, I think Charles mentioned, it's I don't know if he said it's, I don't think he said it's not, maybe it's not cool to be on the fire department, or I'm not sure how you worded that, Charles. So that sent up the alarm that maybe we're not recruiting at a rate that we have in the past. And it could be the long hours and family and other things. So what can this board do to help with that process? Just something, we don't need an answer tonight, but what can we do as a board to help those individuals that are willing to volunteer their time, whatever that may be? Something for us to think about as a board.
Yeah.
Some type of incentive.
And that could be something too. We could set a separate work session, like once this period is over,
Yeah.
and kind of work through that too.
All right.
I got a question, but it's not in this section. It's over in 32403.
Okay,
I'll hit,
But it's still part of mass.
okay.
I'll hit 32310 next. That one is pretty basic. That one's the escalator and the leases. That was it. The only change there. 32403. What was your question on that one?
403.
Yeah.
It's about the AEDs, and the VQL money, it's gotta be running out, because
So I
it was a
actually,
specific amount, it wasn't endless.
when I corrected that other local line, I also included a change to that line too, 6019. So next year would be the last year for the VQL money.
Okay, yeah.
So I changed that one to match. And next year would be $2,324.34 remaining, and then that will close that out. So with,
What's gonna be remaining, 2,000?
it was $2,324.34, and that's what I kind of put over there in the other category. I think it said 2,000 originally, but once I was able to work with Tom and get the correct number a few weeks ago, I was able to adjust that to actually match the actual account.
Okay.
So the increase from 2 to 4 maxes out the VQL money.
The increase from 2 to 4 is just our normal cost without the VQL money.
Okay. In your presentation, I saw where you said there's like 30 of these units throughout the community. Are units being added, or is that
Right.
capped, or what?
I haven't been able to add much. I know a couple of more like private businesses have kind of come through us to get our own, and either I just put them on the path to these are the primary units and this is what we can service. And then a lot of them, when they get them in, they'll reach out and then we'll just assist them, kind of checking them annually. 30, we probably have a little bit more than 30 now, because it's just in the past couple of months, a couple of more churches have picked up.
Yeah, reason I was asking, because, you know, if you go up to 50, that expense goes up,
Yeah.
you know, for as the pads and all that. That'll keep changing if the more units, if it's the county's responsibility to service them. That's another thing.
And that was one thing with the Chesapeake money. Once they closed their program and they turned over everything to us with what they initially gave us, they wanted us to continue their operation and service the units that they had donated as well. So, but we have 30 that we initially purchased, and most of them are from 2004. There's a mix that are 2006, but majority of them are 2004 and starting to go bad.
Okay. All right, is everyone good with Matt's presentation?
I'm good.
Yep. Okay, sounds good. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
firefighters.
fire departments. Thank you, everyone, for your input. It helps a whole lot.
Yeah.
We got about another 2 hours here. Y'all could hang around if you like.
2 Mountain Dew meeting, it's a long meeting, buddy.
Stream it online, I watch it on my cell phone.
I know.
And I extend an invitation to any of y'all. Give me a call, come to the firehouse. I'll talk to you, show you anything you want to see.
Appreciate it.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Consideration.
All right, next on our agenda is our presentation on the CERT program. And Julie, and I've lost my place here, hold on one second.
Tom Armstrong?
I think this is Tom Armstrong. It's not Julie Douglas.
It is not Julie. You'll notice the accent is completely different.
I apologize. I'm
Oh, you're
sorry.
fine. You're fine. Thank you, everybody, for working with us. It was a busy year for us. It was the first year that we had a full year of switching our whole system around, as you have all been part of. I think Julie sent the request and everything to you, so I'll just kind of hit the highlights if I could. We appreciate your continued support because of your investment in our community. We have significantly expanded our capabilities and strengthened our partnerships with the local emergency responders, some of those nice folks who were just here, plus the sheriff's department. In 2025, volunteers supported a bunch of events in the community, the play day at the park, the Compass Candy for Kids. We did traffic control. We were trained by the sheriff's department, and by doing that, it allows the sheriff's department to be more focused on things they do and not have to worry so much about having 2 or 3 guys directing traffic and helping people find parking spots and that kind of thing. So it's another spot where we feel like our volunteers can come in and be a relief for those first responders so that they can be focused on their public safety and the things we can't do. Emergencies, some of the things we've worked on growing this year, we realized that emergencies don't just happen to people. They happen to families, and that sometimes also means pets, dogs, cats, kittens, and whatnots, and also wildlife. We have worked with a couple of Wildlife 911, and we have brought online a pet shelter, which is kind of separate and apart from the normal people kind of shelter. It's a whole separate entity where we can, there have been several incidences where people don't want to leave because they can't bring their puppy dog or they can't bring their cat or whatever the case may be. So we have a pet sheltering program where we can basically run right alongside helping the Department of Health run the people shelter. We can have a pet shelter so they don't have to be so concerned about walking away from their house and leaving Fido tied up in the backyard or something else that would be really not helpful to anybody, and it just creates a lot of stress on families and kids and everything else. We expanded our shelter coordination across the county by working with other municipalities and local churches for extended shelters, so that if we do use the school and we have some people that are in a situation where they can't immediately go somewhere else, we do have some other resources that we've worked out with a couple of the churches to provide what we call an extended sheltering opportunity if necessary. The Red Cross has discontinued supplying or storing supplies here in the county. They used to have a storage unit that had a bunch of cots and ready to eat food and all those kinds of things. We have secured 100 cots and storage for them, so that asset is still here in the county. It didn't go away, it's just now with us versus Red Cross. They weren't prepared to continue doing that, so we have taken that over. We have blankets that we got. I think the sheriffs have some, all the ambulances have them, fire departments all have them, that we got made up that they can give out at an accident scene if it's cold and somebody needs a blanket, a kid needs a blanket, something. So we've done that. We continue to increase our hands-on training. We participated in a countywide search and rescue scenario, and we use field equipment and all of those resources that we don't get to practice on. We talk about them a lot, and we sit around at training every month and we talk about what we would do, but it gives us a chance to get out there and actually do it. Let's see, what else did we do? We continue to work to help our most vulnerable people prepare. We worked with Triad this year to do a lot of senior preparations, doing preparedness seminars for the seniors, helping them do the same things we were talking about earlier with their go bags and go kits and those kind of things, where they seem to forget once they don't have a family to worry about anymore that they have to worry about themselves too. Seems to be a relatively common thing. They just, that you get to a ripe old age of sitting on your porch and you just decide you don't need to worry about that anymore. So we've worked a lot with Triad and helping bring that awareness back. Investing in the next generation. So one of the things we're really excited about for trying to get done this fiscal year, we've been working on it for a while. We're going to offer CPR training to all the 7th graders at the school. So we have a bunch of instructors set aside. We have all the supplies and everything set aside. We're just working out the logistics side of it with the school. We have a couple of board members working on that. We continue to work to be ready, although we really didn't have a ton of stuff, knock on wood, go on this year as far as CERT, other than helping in our normal capacity to do traffic control and some of those other things. We continue to be prepared to assist at a moment's notice. We're wired into the Code Red system for the county now, so we can be alerted. As soon as Matt decides there's a need for us, he can alert us through the Code Red system, separately from having to send it out to the entire county. He can just alert us to get in and help him however we can best serve. We did a joint training with the Gloucester CERT and Three Rivers Medical Reserve Corps, and again, just enhancing our ability to work across jurisdictions in case of a larger scale event where a lot of people are going to be needed, because if it happens, it's going to be gigantic. With all of that and the fact that we didn't have any major weather issues, our volunteers did over 1,400 hours of community service, whether it was traffic control, training, exercises, all of those good things. We did deliver, I lost my spot, Good Lord. We delivered some food and some other things during the ice storm. We had about 45 hours of volunteer work during that storm that we helped out with some things. We continue to try and recruit, and I can tell you, being in a volunteer fire department, recruitment is always and continues to be a concern and a struggle, no matter what. We continue to train. We meet every month, and we train every single month, and we try to be prepared as best we can for when the county will call and need us. And that is all that I have. I just would like to say in closing that your support in these programs is critical for us. We appreciate everything the county does for us, and we are just glad to be here to support and provide assistance where we can. Anybody have any questions?
I have a question.
Sure.
So when Matt calls you, when he alerts you, how many volunteers do you have?
It depends on what it is,
Okay.
and it depends on the scope of the need. We have probably about 45 folks that we can, if we need a shelter, we can put our hands on more people. It depends really on what the county needs. We do damage assessments. That's what we did after the tornadoes and after the hurricane. That's kind of a specific group of us within CERT. There's not all of us can or want to go do that work. We have a whole section of people that can do the shelter work. We have a whole group of people that all they want to do is go be at the pet shelter and help out.
Do you have, the next question was the
Sure.
animal shelter. Is that a actual shelter, or are there people that volunteer to bring the
We have,
animal
no,
to-
it's something we can build in place wherever it needs
Okay.
to be. And we have some kennels and things like that, you know, hopefully people will bring, if
So
they
it's
have
a-
small animals.
A mobile shelter.
I would hesitate to call it mobile to give the wrong impression that we could literally wheel it into any specific spot, but it is something that we would find a place to have it and be able to provide that service, yes.
And then the CPR training in the 7th grade, I assume that would be through the, probably the health and PE program?
Yes, that's exactly right. Well, we have a couple of board members. One of them used to be a teacher. He's working with the school. That's his project. He's facilitating the final logistical figuring out the timing of how to get the students in place for the amount of time they need to be there to complete the training, which,
I think that's
you know, takes a couple hours.
great program.
Yeah, we're excited about that one. That's one that, you know, hopefully, you know, we hear on the news all the time about the 6-year-old that figured out how to call 911 and the 7-year-old that, you know, even if they do hands-only CPR, which is a big thing now, versus, you know, the rescue breaths and all that fun stuff, even if they can do that, it really helps. So, anything else for anybody?
Thank you for all you do.
Sure, we're happy to do it. Just like the firefighters, we're happy to do it. We're happy to be here right along with them. I will tell you, being in the treasurer for a fire department, that he was not kidding. We're in the process in Northumberland County of buying a new tanker, and it's $885,000 for that truck.
We can't help you with that.
Oh, I know. Just to underline, I will tell you that I am responding thing he was talking about. We use it a ton. It's a great accountability tool for them when they go on calls and stuff. And just running that, which is a subscription you pay, is like almost $2,000 a year for a department. So that's I'll get off my firehouse soapbox and off my CERT soapbox, and I'll thank you all very much for your attention.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you. Everyone's,
Yeah, I'm good.
y'all good? Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
I want, can we go back to the volunteer rescue squad on page 22, 32, 300,
okay, page 22,
page 22,
yes,
32, 300? The line item Gloucester Emergency Shelter,
yes,
Yeah, they'll be here Thursday.
yeah,
and talk about that?
Yes.
yeah,
Right,
he
because-
said, that's
Yeah.
what Don said, that lady was gonna be here.
Yeah.
I asked Matt about
Yeah.
it, he wasn't really that knowledgeable about it,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, I was concerned about that line too.
Yeah.
Okay.
It probably should be a standalone item and not under,
That's what
Yeah.
I'm,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
because right now it's lumped into that
Yeah.
total thing.
Yeah.
And my question is, are we getting any use or benefit of that?
well, that'd be a good question for Linda Hodges on Thursday. night.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. All right. Next on our agenda is, let me get back here to where I was, and we've got the Northern Neck Middlesex Free Health Clinic with Ms. Jeannie Nelson.
Come on up here. You got something to hand out?
Thank you, Jeannie, for being here.
Good evening. Thank you for this opportunity and actually your ongoing support over the years. We've been there, this is our 33rd year, and the county's been supportive for the 33 years, so we greatly appreciate it. You know, healthcare has had a big lot of changes in the last, 18 months. And part of what I appreciated that you said is this board thinks out of a box. And that's the only way we're going to make these solutions work. So I appreciate that. And it's been obvious by what you all have accomplished, so in all the areas. So thank you on that. The healthcare has trying to find professionals to be able to come and stay at the clinic has been challenging. This past year, on December 30th, in our medical, we were able to add a 2-day nurse practitioner, which was a big find for us. It was somebody that was local and was interested in going to a part-time. So we were able to add that. So in our medical, we were able to expand to the complete 5-day operation, whereas prior to that, one nurse practitioner dropped a day, and so we didn't have full 5-day coverage. We had 4, but some days we have 3 providers, and we still have volunteers. So that was an addition that we were able to do. And in our pharmacy, in 2025, we added a full-time pharmacist, and we had been looking for a full-time pharmacist for at least 20 years. This person was someone who actually trained at 16 and as a volunteer in our pharmacy when she was in high school, and then came back and is dedicated to this mission and expects to not leave this job, and she is very dedicated to it. In order to be able to support a full-time pharmacist, we went from a 2.5-day to a 5-day. We created, there was a partnership with RXP, and it is a nonprofit in Richmond. There are a lot of small clinics in Virginia that don't have pharmacies. And they were being served by Lloyd Moss Free Clinic, and they closed down overnight. And all of a sudden, there are many people without the opportunity. Our pharmacists had just come to get their medicines, and our pharmacists had just come on board. I had known about this program, and I thought it was a potential that we would be able to do it, but without a full-time pharmacist, we wouldn't. And there was a couple reasons that I did. For one, serving anybody who needs pharmacy is very important, but they also pay, and they also opened other contracts where we would be able to get free medicines. These free medicines are not only used for the people that aren't in our 5-district area, 5-county area, we're able to use those medicines for those patients too. So it's been a big reduction in our pharmacy costs, which has helped offset the pharmacist position. So it's was a very productive year and in serving that. But it was another creative, out-of-a-box way to be able to support the needs of these communities by pushing out in a different angle, which we had never done before. In our dental, we, on August 1st, hired our first full-time dentist. So he's there 5 days a week. We have a part-time dentist, a full-time dentist, and a full-time hygienist, which has been a very big an important piece. We have always done dentures, which we were very thankful for, but this dentist, our recent dentist, now does crowns and bridges and night guards. So that's another piece that has been a major important part. We also partner with a free health clinic in Hampton, Newport News area, and they're doing the labs for us. So it's a minimal cost to be able to do that, and they can have full smiles. And, employment's a very important piece to have. People have said, now I can get the job I want, because they've been smiling with their hand over their mouth. So that was very exciting to be able to do. And the third one was, the fourth is our behavior health. We have peer recovery, we have 2. And they are in the jails in Lancaster, and some out in the regional are, but they are here at Lancaster on a weekly basis. I think it's been pretty powerful for them as individuals, but also for the people who have left the jail and gone straight to recovery, and they have worked with that. They follow them. They've helped. They are also certified community health workers. So with some of the other challenges, like getting on Medicaid, how do we do this? How do I get my license back? They've been able to help people work through the systems. So that has been a very important piece. I think the other part is sometimes somebody from the jail will call and say, can you send somebody up? We have somebody having a difficult time. And that is a community really working together. They've called us and said at different points, we have somebody who has a boat, but they can't stay there anymore. They need a place to live. So, and they have a dog, and all the different challenges that come with trying to bring kindness and a safe place for people is very important. So it's been a really big year. At the Affordable Care Act, there was over 1 million people that did not re-up because of the cost. We have had people coming in saying, this is what I pay right now. I have a wife, a 9-year-old, and myself, and we're in pretty good health, but our insurance is going up $1,000, and we won't be able to afford it. Where we're going to go? So those layers are starting to play out at this point with the Affordable Care Act. And the biggest cliff I think we expect to have is in Medicaid. It's 2027. There's some big layers coming down in Medicaid that they expect to be very, very major back into the uninsured population. So healthcare is still going to be a challenge moving forward for a while. And we're very appreciative of your support, your ongoing support, and we're requesting level funding and hopeful for that. But to be able to reach out and meet the needs in the community, we're doing everything we can to maximize a program that was the state let go of, basically, back in the 90s, and the community has been very supportive and continues to be challenged because there's lots of needs. And, I'm very thankful for the fire department. They've been at all 3 of my houses. Not that I have, they all turned out okay. One had a pretty big a hole in it over the years, but, all these people put in a life dedicated to helping. And so thank you all for your out-of-the-box thinking, and thank you for your commitment to all the different needs of the community. I greatly appreciate it.
Any questions?
Jean, are you able to pay your dentist and hygienist and you said a part-time PA, are you able to pay them at a competitive level?
We have to.
Yeah, and does that include benefits?
Yes, it does.
And then the other question I have is you mentioned partnering with Hampton Roads. If there's a service that we can't provide here, can they go down there and take advantage of something that they offer?
It is, the clinics have turned into a regional approach.
Yep.
And, Gloucester just got a dentist for 2 days a week, but they don't do dentures, so they send their patients here. So we have letter of agreements because they do their screening, and we keep track of everything. Ledwith Lewis doesn't have a pharmacy. Our chairman of the board, Dr. Kinsel, is also their medical director, so we do their pharmacy. And then we have, they also refer to dental for us because they don't have a dental clinic. So we move around. It is a very important group because we share. I have 2 groups coming down to show them how we do. Roanoke Bradley Free Clinic's coming down to see how we do the central fill, so they can do it for that part of the state. Gloucester's coming over to see how we're able to work with the students, so they hopefully could get some VCU students. We still have 4 students that come 3 days a week, for 48 weeks to be able to help serve our patients. And they are supervisors, our staff are basic adjunct faculty to the VCU, so they can supervise these students in their senior year. We're working with RCC to bring in some of the behavior tech positions to train and see what it's like to be a community health worker. So, but as in salary-wise, we have to be competitive.
Yeah.
And we were fortunate to be working with Delta Dental, but, basically, and try to get the sign-up pay down, which is different opportunities where you can get some loan repayment if you're in a HIPSA, which is a healthcare shortage area, and we are, all our counties are. So there's a lot of creative ways that we do that, and we work really closely with the CEO of Delta Dental for any creative opportunities that we can do. And yeah, I'm tired today. I usually have a little bit more enthusiasm, but it's been a big year, exciting in many ways.
Right. Well, thank you for all you do.
Thanks.
You gentlemen good with that? Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you, Jeannie.
Thank
for
you
your
so
time.
much.
All right, next on our agenda is the Middle Peninsula Northern Neck Behavioral Health. Ms. Campagnola, I hope I said that right. Good evening.
So good evening. I'm the Executive Director for Middle Peninsula Northern Neck Behavioral Health. We are one of 40 CSBs in the state of Virginia, and we make up our public behavioral health system. So what I've handed out to you is an annual report that is done by, in all the CSBs, get a page, and our page is 44. And it has some highlights on some of our success stories for this last year, our recovery response team, recovery court, which Lancaster is also a part of. And then we also had a trip that we took to Salt Lake City and brought some of our clientele with us so that they could experience training in our clubhouse model, which is our one of our programs in Tappahannock. So that's and then I also included this one pager here. This on the back here lists all of our different service divisions, which is quite lengthy. We had to fit everything on one page. And then also your annual impact summary. So this year for Lancaster County, we delivered more than 18,000 services to 282 Lancaster County residents. These services include early intervention, crisis support, recovery services, and mental health therapy. Our most served group for this county was adults in need of counseling services. This, to me, reflects a growing demand for mental health care. I think it's important to note that nationally, 1 in 5 adults experience a mental health condition each year. Within the county, we operate Lively Turning Point Group Home, and we also have New Horizons Apartments in Kilmarnock. We provide a weekly substance use program at the Northern Neck Middlesex Health Clinic, and we also deliver mental health services in the jail also. We have a forensic case manager that's in there just about every week assessing and supporting the jail staff. And as I said earlier, Lancaster County also participates in our recovery court program that's housed in Westmoreland County. That's where the court is. We have recently been awarded funding by the Department of Behavioral Health to provide permanent supportive housing. So we'll have 15 units, and that's available to anybody in our 10 catchment area. It's not many units, but it's a start for us, and that will be people that have challenges with a serious mental illness. We can help subsidize that apartment for them, and they would pay 30% of their income.
Where do you find these apartments?
Just in the community, making relationship with landlords and such. We do some now already with our own internal funding. This is actually state funded. So,
Okay.
yes. And another thing that we started this year is same-day access, what we call, and that's walk-in appointments. So people on Monday and Tuesdays at our Tappahannock clinic and our Gloucester clinic, they don't need to have an appointment if they're new and they need to see somebody, they can just walk in and get an assessment the same day and start services. So that's been, I think, a big benefit to the community. Under the Code of Virginia and our performance contract with the Department of Behavioral Health, localities are expected to contribute a 10% match of state funding. The required local match for Lancaster this year is $66,310. It's a slight increase from last year in the amount of $2,228. And I also would like to mention that we're a significant local employer, and we had a $1.2 million wage impact on Lancaster County this year. I'll take any questions you might have. I know that was kind of quick and a lot of information.
Did you say nationally 1 out of every 5 adults experience
Mental health condition, yes,
Wow.
yes.
Okay. Everyone good with that, Bill?
Yeah.
You good with it? Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank
ma'am.
you.
All right, our next item on the agenda is our presentation for Bay Aging and Bay Transit, which is Tinsley Goad and David Foles.
David is dealing with the transit issue at the moment.
Okay.
But next we'll go.
Okay. Come on forward.
No, I'm waiting.
Oh, you're waiting. Oh, okay. So
We'll hold them.
we'll hold them and we'll move on to the next one. Yeah,
Okay.
gotcha. All right.
Our next item then is on the legal aid work, Kim McCartney. Thank you.
It's nice to see you all today. A few things, I believe. I believe my main office already provided all of the financial information that you had requested. I'm a frontlines person. I do the intakes. Generally, standing here, you'll see our executive director, Ann Klockner. I'm filling in. She's not well today, so I appreciate the chance to meet all of you and be here today. Legal Aid Works.
Do you need that?
Thank you.
That had some notes on it. I don't
Sure
know.
does. Okay, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Legal Aid Works, formerly Rappahannock Legal Services, has served Lancaster County since 1979, so I'm sure that you've seen or heard of us. We're asking for level funding. $5,600 is what we've been getting in the past, and we were hoping to do that again. Our 2-attorney office in Tappahannock covers 7 counties, including Lancaster. We represent low-income people who need a civil attorney just for civil matters such as domestic violence, protective orders, spousal child support, landlord and tenant foreclosure matters, those kinds of things. We're the only agency that provides this service. In your county, there are 1,781 eligible low-income persons who would qualify for our services. By the way, before I left my office today, I ran a quick report. We have 8 Lancaster residents who are being served by our office right this minute on the books that we're working with. As an outside agency, we behave like an inside agency by helping county governments in 3 ways. We try to take the strain off your social services safety net by lifting clients out of poverty with enforceable court orders of child and spousal support that the clients would not otherwise have won without legal intervention. Helping the county court system run efficiently by helping those who can't afford an attorney when we're able to assist in those matters. Pro se litigants tend to slow down the court system, and so therefore we try to help get cases through a little more quickly throughout the day. And we assist law enforcement officers by obtaining civil protective orders for victims of domestic violence by being involved. We leverage your $5,600 in financial support to provide legal services that benefit Lancaster's citizens. And through our efforts, clients from this county have been represented in a variety of different legal matters. When you total the amount of real, measurable financial help that we give to the residents of your county compared to the amount that you give us, it's an excellent return on your investment. In the last fiscal year, the 3 offices of our agency obtained $420,000 for our clients throughout the 17 counties. I'm not talking about just right here in Lancaster, but for all of our offices of the 17 counties we serve. And in Lancaster County, our attorneys obtained $19,200 in benefits for 36 county residents, Lancaster County residents. So the brochures that I brought, I hope that you'll share those back at your offices and to your constituents in your areas. And I'm glad to be here. I've worked for legal aid a long time. I'm not an attorney, but if you have any questions, I would sure try to answer them.
Bill, you have? Okay.
Legal questions?
No.
So you're serving 8 citizens now. How many did you serve last year?
No, I mean right this minute.
Right this minute.
Last year, we had 36 county residents.
Okay.
And like I say, we.
That's the one that you said you were able to, you had a $19,000 figure. Is that right?
Right.
Yeah.
We obtained $19,200 in financial benefits. Of course, there are all kinds of other benefits to have legal issues resolved for these residents.
Well, thank you.
Is that it?
You good with it, Bill?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yep.
Thank you
Okay.
very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, now we go back to Bay Agent.
Go back to Bay.
Yeah.
All right, we will now call up Bay Aging and Bay Transit and for their presentation.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Yes, sir.
My name's Tinsley Goad. I'm the CFO at Bay Aging, which is the area agency on aging and community action agency serving the Middle Peninsula and Northern Neck of Virginia as our service area. We'd like to thank the board and the citizens of Lancaster County for the many years of support of our programs serving Lancaster residents. And I would also like to recognize and thank our long-serving board member, Ms. Vera Lee, who is on our executive committee and has contributed a great deal to the agency. We divide our operations into 3 categories: health, housing, and transit. I will talk a little bit about health and housing and turn it over to David to talk about transit and the request there. To help offset the rising costs of labor, insurance, and other items in our aging services for fiscal year 2027, we are requesting a 3% increase from the FY26 appropriation, which takes us to an ask of $17,739. As the sheet shows, these programs served more than 3,000 residents of Lancaster in FY25 with services that included more than or almost 11,000 home-delivered meals, 14,400 home care hours, information, education, caregiver support, emergency home repair, homeless interventions, and other services that help the citizens of Lancaster of all ages live independently in their communities. The service sheet also highlights a new program we launched in 2025, specifically in Lancaster, with the help of the Robert B. Lance Foundation, and that is our Community Chaplain Program, which has had a significant impact on county citizens since we launched it last July. The impact sheet shows more detail of the value that county residents received from your contribution, specifically the important leveraging factor that results from your contribution and acts as the local matching funds that are required to access the much larger sources of state and federal money. In summary, every dollar contributed by Lancaster in 2025 translated to $45 of services to county residents. And finally, I would like to point out that we are also an economic partner with the county, having paid nearly $75,000 in real estate taxes and utility fees to the county and the town of Kilmarnock combined. And this is mainly due to our senior housing complex at Tartan Village and our workforce housing development at Mercer Place. And I'll let David speak, and then we can take questions at the end.
Good evening. I'm David Foles, Transit Director for Bay Transit. I'd like to thank you for 27 years of support with the county. We offer a door-to-door transit service for your citizens. We pick them up at their residence or wherever they need to be picked up, take them to their desired destination. 53% of our, or 55% of our rides are work-related. We provided 11,420 rides last year, and over half of those were to and from work. 19% were for health purposes, to get them to doctor's appointments, medical needs. We also have a new Freedom program that is designed for seniors and people with disabilities. As long as they're inside of your county, we take them outside. We'll take them to the VA hospital in Richmond, Hampton, and we take them outside of the normal service area with that program. That program is at no cost to the county. That's just a program we run also. We are asking for a 3% increase to cover cost also.
Okay. Any questions?
I guess with that service is, say if you have to take somebody to the VA, is it a cost to that person or the family?
The first 50 miles is $5, and that's 50 miles both ways is $5. Over that is $10. And with the rate gas is going up, you can't drive to the VA for $10.
So where does that money come from? Is that the state money that you?
Part of that is state and federal and local funds that we get. We do I don't know if we do a program, Ardent Transit, with the Art League in Kilmarnock, and sponsorships from that. We split with the Art League, and part of that money goes into it.
We also self-fund some of it.
Yes.
So we have a housing crisis, not just in Lancaster, but in the entire country. And I'm sure you, in your board meetings, you talk about the need for more housing. Can you elaborate on that at all, and what your plans might be for the future?
Well, we have a couple of projects in the early stages now.
Okay.
One is a workforce housing project in Middlesex, and another is a low-income housing tax credit project in James City County.
Okay.
And it's all about the funding. So when we see funding opportunities for housing, when we see funding opportunities for housing, that's where we will put our efforts. We have relationships with Virginia Housing and other sources of funding in the state. We've developed one low-income housing tax credit property in Gloucester that's very successful, and so that's probably going to be, there's no more HUD money, which is where most of our senior apartments are funded previously. the funding for that, for construction, is no more. And so across the country, it's been replaced to some extent by the low-income housing tax credit program, but that is super competitive and something that we apply for just about every year, and we won one time.
Well, we certainly have a need here, and
Yeah.
we may have some opportunities in the future,
Mhm.
and I hope that we can talk soon.
Sure, yeah.
And you'll include
I
Lancaster.
mean,
on
we
that
do
list.
have the capability we manage more than 400 units now across the whole service area and in Williamsburg. And so we have the capability to develop and operate them. So, yeah, sure,
We're ready for you here.
yeah.
So basically in Kilmarnock, there's no real plans on the table for expansion at Mercer Place? and anything like that?
No.
But could be if the opportunity presents itself.
It could be, and it's also about the land, the property. That's a constraint for the low-income housing tax credit. You have to have site control, you have to own the property first, then you can apply.
Again, we might have some opportunities
Yeah,
coming up soon,
good.
so
Good, yeah, we'd love to talk.
we'll jump that hurdle quickly.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, gentlemen.
All right, thanks very
Thank you.
much.
Everyone good with that proposal? Okay.
Good investment.
All right, the next item on our agenda is the Haven Shelter, which we've got down Lynn Sharp and Ellen Yeakel. Good evening, ladies.
I am Ellen Yeakel, the current Executive Director of the Haven Shelter and Services. I've been I'm on 29 years with the Haven and am retiring in June, so I have brought Lynn with me. She's our grant manager, and she will be carrying on into the future. And so I want to take the opportunity tonight to say thank you, because I have been coming down here or coming online for 29 years now, and you've always been supportive of the Haven, and I appreciate that. And at this time, I'm going to turn this over to Lynn with the information that she has.
Well, again, thank you for having us here tonight. Again, like she said, my name is Lynn Sharp, and I have been with the Haven. This is my 20th year, so although my first time in front of you, I have enjoyed learning what the needs are of the community and working closely with our program participants directly. So we are here tonight to respectfully request an increase of 10% for $5,324 total, and that is representing a growing community need. Last year, we received over 150 hotline calls from Lancaster County residents, and most of those calls represented an immediate crisis-driven situation. Of those calls, many persons requested emergency shelter. So we provided emergency shelter to 11 adults and 13 children originating from Lancaster County, noting 858 nights of emergency shelter, which represent for last year alone a 75% increase from the previous year for Lancaster County. This is our 40th year the Haven has been in operation, and our emergency shelter is currently the current emergency shelter has been operating for 19 years. To say that it's been well loved would be an understatement, and we are continually now facing with being creative to fund maintenance repairs. Over those 19 years, we have provided 9,600 nights of shelter to Lancaster County residents, to 125 adults and 94 children. Nearly 4,000 hotline calls were answered with the goal of increasing survivor safety and hopefully with the goal of ensuring offender accountability. Most folks know we operate an emergency shelter and a crisis hotline, but we're also present weekly in the courts to provide accompaniment, information to support the Commonwealth Attorney and Victim Witness Office. We run a thrift shop that not only provides support to our program participants, but also has assisted community members who have experienced loss, such as house fires. In addition, we have provided thrift shop vouchers to persons exiting the jail or on probation or parole and need work clothing. So we support that with our thrift shop vouchers if folks call in need. We are recently operating a 24-hour community pantry, which is going to be a little bit different. We're going to be able to stock it with fresh produce from our gardens. And we're currently in partnership with the Rappahannock Unitarian UU Church to expand our garden and food pantries there. I share all this to really underscore the simple truth that the work that Haven does matters. It touches lives across this community. Likely a friend, a neighbor, coworker, or family member has access to our services. And sustained funding is critical so that when the next call comes in, that we will be able to answer it. Do you have any questions or concerns for the impact of the Haven on your community or the services we provide?
I guess I got a question about the 858 nights. So how did you come up with that number?
Sure, we track our data. We use a statewide system from the Virginia Coalition. So every person that enters into our program, we assign a number and enter the services we provide, because we also receive state and federal funding in which we have to report that data as well.
So that was for 2025?
That was for 2025, yes, sir. And some folks might just need to stay a couple nights until they can find someplace safe to go. Some folks might need to stay longer because they're waiting for court hearings which get continued. They may not be safe until the perpetrator's picked up and incarcerated, just lots of different things. And of course, the housing crisis plays a large role in that as well. So some people stay short-term, but some folks may need a longer stay.
Do you have repeat applicants?
We do, because it's hard. Sometimes the option is to go back. So the average person was at 7 times may leave an abusive situation 7 times before they leave for good. And when we think about the reasons why, lack of housing, employment opportunities, affordable child care.
And lots of promises from the abusers, and everything's going to be fine.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. But we're still going to be there for that repeat caller. So sometimes it's just building that relationship and increasing awareness within the community so that they have a supportive community, not just one that maybe has shame, placed upon them.
How about the food pantry? You mentioned that you would maybe be moving to more fresher produce type foods. How do you store that?
Sure. Right now, we are working with Just Harvest, a Native American. I don't know all the background to that.
It's a Native American group that does food sovereignty work, and we've partnered with them, and they do multiple community gardens throughout the service area, and they've opened these small pantries, and they will come to fill the pantries. This will be the first year that we'll have, they just installed them this year, so they'll be coming with fresh produce from the various gardens.
Do we have one in Lancaster?
You hopefully will. That was the meeting that took place last Sunday with the UU Church.
That's right, the UU Church, they'll have
At
that
Whitestone.
there.
So,
Okay. And so you have the land for this garden? Or?
We have donated land in Essex County. We have, we work with Minokan, and they have a garden on there at the historic site. And then, of course, the UU Church will be providing the site for the garden there.
So you don't have any land in Lancaster for a garden?
Just at
the Whitestone.
Just at the UU Church.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And this is through a partnership and funding through, also with the Virginia Department of Health is helping to support this project.
Gotcha. Good. Congratulations on your retirement.
Thank you, I'm looking forward to it. I married an older man, and he's been enjoying retirement for quite a while, and I'm ready to do that myself.
You tell that older man I said hi.
I'll tell him you said hi.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Let's put a pause on that till later on.
Okay. All right. We will put that on hold until later. All right?
Thank you.
Thank
No
you.
other questions? Thank you all, ladies.
Thank you. Have a nice evening.
You too. Bye-bye. All right, our next item on the agenda is the Boys and Girls Club of the Northern Neck. Mr. Michael Burgess.
I don't think Michael Burgess is here. We've got Giles Scott.
I don't know everybody. I apologize.
All right.
If I called you the wrong name, I apologize.
That's all right. I appreciate the effort. Michael Burgess, he set this up for me to be able to be here today, so I appreciate him communicating with you all. And my name is Giles Scott. I'm the Operations Director and Acting CEO of the Boys and Girls Club of the Northern Neck. And I just wanted to start off by saying thank you all for everything you've done for us over the years and your continued support. I also want to remind you all of our mission and remind myself of our mission as well. Our mission is to inspire and enable all young people to reach their full potential as responsible, caring, and productive citizens. The contribution that you all make to our club makes it so you are a major reason for the opportunities that we're able to provide the kids in the county. So we are asking for additional funding this year, and that is based on some of the things that affected our organization in the recent year and organization across the nation. All of us that do out-of-school time, after-school programming, had some scares last year when it comes to federal funding that we are heavily reliant on in recent years. And so we are making a huge pivot to go away from that and being more reliant on federal funding and being more supported by our local funding and contributions. And so we are asking for that. Just to give a little bit of information to you all, when it comes to Virginia, there are 48,000 kids that attend Boys and Girls Club across Virginia. That is about 5% of the Virginia public school students that are in Boys and Girls Club. Here in Lancaster County, we have about close to 40% of the students that are registered members of the Boys and Girls Club of the Northern Neck, which for our Lancaster unit. And that's a big number in comparison to the state level. Now, of course, there are some areas that don't have clubs, and so that factor, that does affect that number. But we have a huge number of students in this county that are registered members of the Boys and Girls Club. And we see about 126 of them every day after school for programming. And let's see, when it comes to Boys and Girls Clubs, we do survey our kids every year across the nation and, of course, here in the county, in the state of Virginia. It is said that 97% of the kids that are in Boys and Girls Clubs believe that they will graduate from high school. 91% plan to go to college after high school, 93% feel encouraged to do their best, and 90% feel safe being safe at the club. Some other numbers I wanted to share with you all. 2 out of 3 families have both parents working. 1 out of every 4 children in the state of Virginia are waiting to get into an after-school program. So us having 40% of our students in an after-school program, and obviously there's a couple other programs in the county, but that's a huge number when in comparison to the state. Every dollar that's spent or invested into our program, after-school program, it is about $10 of economic benefit, based on some studies that we did with out-of-school time across the state of Virginia. So with almost 40% of our the Lancaster County students, again, we serve about 126 on a daily basis, and that means some may come on Monday and Wednesday, but they may not come on Thursday and Friday because they are part of after-school sports and different things like that. We provide a meal every day to these kids and transportation home to many of the kids within the county, and particularly the kids that live on the upper end of Lancaster County. We have a bus that goes out there every day at 6 o'clock to take the kids closer to their home, but we don't actually get them to their home, and parents meet us at that drop-off spot instead of them having to come to Kilmarnock. We participate in a lot of evidence-based programs, but we also do a lot of fun activities. And so, for example, one of our fun activities in recent months is our Christmas store. And so every club kid is able to get multiple gifts for themselves and multiple gifts for their parents or family members every Christmas. And that's across the organization. So we have over 100 kids in Lancaster County that all were able to have an opportunity to receive a gift and give someone else a gift this year. We also do things like Youth of the Year. So just recently, I went on my first Youth of the Year for Virginia trip where we have a competition where kids create essays and they speak in front of a large room of people. And so there's one that's selected from the state of Virginia that goes on to the region and goes on to the country to compete. It's a great opportunity for these kids to learn to work on public speaking throughout their time at the club and able to practice that in front of groups of people in large numbers and be competitive in their winning. We also participate in what is called the Keystone Conference. So that's the annual conference that the Boys and Girls Club does for young adults and teenagers. And last year, we were to take a group of kids to Chicago. This year, we're planning to take another group of kids, and maybe some of the ones that went to Chicago, but a few others, planning on taking them to the Keystone Conference in Florida this year. And so again, that's a week where they do a lot of motivational experiences. This is based off of things they've done throughout the year, contributing to the community. For example, every Wednesday right now, a group of our teens go to the Lancashire to sit with those residents there and do different activities with them as part of their volunteer hours. Another big focus that you all supported us in last year and that we're increasing our efforts in is workforce development, life and workforce development for our club. So just a couple of examples. When the kids are 5 to 8 years old, we introduce these concepts to them with something as simple as a coloring book that has different careers in that coloring book. We also partner with the Bacon Sorter and Workforce Development Board, and we do virtual reality simulations with them for the different career opportunities that are here in the region. So everything that they experience is something that they could actually do here in the county versus just trying to push the kids to college and things like that. We also have a team program where we have a mentor that comes in and work with the kids about financial literacy and career pathways and developing employability skills. So that's just an example of some of the things that we've been able to do with the club kids here in the Northern Neck, particularly here in Lancaster County. Lancaster County is our largest unit. This unit is, let's see, I can actually tell you the numbers. So I said we have about 385 students that were registered last year in our club, and that is almost triple some of our other units right now in the other counties. And so we're looking to spread across the counties, but again, this is where we started and we're doing great things. So I'm here to answer any questions for you guys if you have any.
Anyone have any questions? Any questions?
So you mentioned at the very beginning that the Boys and Girls Club would be receiving less at the national level, and there's more responsibility for you to fundraise, I guess, and find
Yes.
other sources.
Yes, exactly.
I guess that's what you're working on, right?
Yes.
Gotcha. Well, good luck with that.
Thank you. One great thing is that we are taking on this effort as a statewide effort when all the Boys and Girls Club. So there's lots of things happening to help us, continue growing and become more sustainable.
All right.
I also would like to see us put a hold on this.
Okay.
To the lid.
All right.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank
Mr.
you. All right, next on our agenda is the community library. And I know we've got Alice Cooper.
And together is Ann Muse, the president of the library board. So we're
Thank you.
doing this in tandem.
Okay.
And all the facts and figures, this lady has them. And I'm going to give you kind of our vision of where we're going. Thank you, first of all, for having us here again this year. You really have helped us bridge the gap, the annual gap that we have between our private fundraising efforts and our full cost of keeping our doors open. You asked earlier about our prices, our salaries competitive, and about 2 years ago, we did a classification and compensation study for our salaried full-time and part-time employees, and learned that we were well below what was needed. And so we have been, I think now, this January? As of January, we are on par. And so that's really important to us because we have a phenomenal staff who give every day. Our library services are really essential to this community. We're increasing our connections and opportunities with the Boys and Girls Club, with the school system, with some of the other organizations in the community, like the Historic Christ Church. And recently, we do our Sundays at 2, and recently we had a Dr. Malisi from Richmond on neurosurgery. Now, if you know about our community, we're an aging community, and that's a very important issue for a lot of us. And these Sundays at 2-ish programs have been going on for 30 years.
30 years.
30 years. And this past week, we had something like 120 people, I think it was, yeah. So I know many of us think of our libraries as places where we go to get books, where we do our research, or maybe where we get to use a computer. I know I did feel that way about computers before I began volunteering at the library 7 years ago, working for the governance committee. You hooked me into that. Luckily, I like to do strategic planning. Anyway, I've learned that really we are transformational in our role in this community. You see it every time you walk into the doors. You see it when the parents are walking into baby garden on Monday morning, or story time on Wednesdays. Little kids, sometimes with their parents, but often with their grandparents. You see it when the teens come in after school and they go to our new teen center, and we have a new teen coordinator who is pulling them in with crafts and other such arts activities, but now getting them into a book club. So gradually moving forward in that area. So we're doing, this past week, I guess it's been about 3 weeks, we've been doing tax help for those who either can't afford a service for taxes, really don't know how to put it all together, can't do the TurboTax, and so they come in to do work with our team to do some tax support. As we plan for our next 4-year strategic plan, we're just ending up our last strategic plan, which was primarily focused on our infrastructure and our programs and services, our circulation, our communication, both external and internal. And now we're moving into our next phase. And to help us with that, we've hired Paul Shakatano to come in and help us with our fund development, because we are realizing that we are there. You've heard about this fatigue in fundraising. Well, we've been experiencing it. And there are many different organizations that are asking for funds. So he has provided us with a fund development plan. In fact, tomorrow at our board meeting, he'll be working with us to tell our stories and work with us. We are going to focus this year on literacy, these next 4 years. Literacy, where literacy is empowerment. And we're not just talking about family literacy or reading and writing, well beyond that. That's the role of the schools. But we're focusing on helping parents learn about how do you help a child do their homework? How do you do a read aloud? How do you help a child fill out a college application? How do you help a child get the GED equivalency? In order to get a GED, you need to be reading at the 8th to 10th grade level. We have kids who are going to Rappahannock Community College who can't do that. So right now we have a group, our education committee, who a few years ago worked on a Literacy Connect service so that our parents know what all the literacy services are in the community. Now they're honing in on that group of people who are really stuck, embarrassed to ask for help for reading, to take a GED, but wanting to do something of their lives. And so this is going to be a really big effort for us. I don't have the strategies yet. We're pulling together our leadership team and our board to help us create those strategies in September. What I'm really excited about is that we just gave surveys out to our middle school and high school kids, 6th to 12th grade. We did that in 2022 when we did our 4-year strategic plan. We got maybe about 90 surveys. This year, we have 350 survey responses. I'd credit that actually for Jessica, because she went to her principals and said, we need the input. That information is going to help us design the programs that our kids need and want. Let's see, I think I already said that. So really, our library isn't peripheral, it's essential, and it's really important for the economy of our county. If we look at the 2035 plan for the Lancaster County, they're interested in bringing people in, for keeping people here, and for expanding our businesses and improving our economy. And we believe that our literacy focus will help us do that. I think what Alice is going to do is give you more of an understanding of the impact we've had recently with a few stories, and then I'll wrap up.
Perfect. Thank you, Ann. So thank you, gentlemen, for the opportunity to provide some information on the library's financial picture, and I'll also give an example of the library's impact. So it's hard to believe, but 2026 is the 10th year of the library in its current building. In fact, it's been owned by the library longer than it was a bowling alley. It was a bowling alley only from 2010 to 2014. So with a 16-year-old physical plant, it's time for some major infrastructure improvements. This year, the library is spending over $400,000 on 9 new HVAC units and a new membrane roof. If you've driven by or visited the library, you've probably seen the activity. And we're working on a few avenues to pay for these projects. We're looking at an enterprise zone grant. We received a small allocation from the town of Kilmarnock. And lastly, a portion of the library's endowment has been allocated for capital expenses, which will pay for the majority of the improvements. In addition, the library is working hard to develop income to address the increased costs of doing business that everyone is experiencing, along with the growth and expansion of library services. In addition to the small increase that we're requesting from Lancaster County, we are requesting allocations from other local governments. And as Ann mentioned, we're working with Paula and Mandy Shakatano of Making Waves Consulting to strategize the library's fund development efforts. Recommendation includes the hiring of a full-time development director, the first time the library would ever have one. Although this will add an estimated $80,000 expense to the library, we realize that this is an important investment that will pay off in the long run. And ultimately, all of this hard work and effort is for the benefit of our community. I'll give you one example this evening. The library currently employs a part-time library assistant who has been connected with the Lancaster Community Library since he was a child. His growing up years were challenging, to say the least. In fact, when he was about 10 years old, his mother deserted him and his brother. They lived in a tree house in the woods for about 3 weeks. Teachers at the school stepped in when they noticed that the boys were wearing the same clothing every day. And eventually, the grandparents took the children in and raised them. This talented young man spent his growing up years at the library. At one point, the library staff found out that no one had ever celebrated his birthday. So we surprised him with a cake and a party. He was, and still is, a great reader of books, and he progressed from the children's book collection through the young adult section and into the main library's collection. Now we can fast forward to the present day, where poetry and songs are the focus of this young man's career goals. He's achieved a great deal, including being a Sony recording artist, and he works toward further success and fame. So you may ask, why would he continue to work at the Lancaster Community Library with all of this going on in his life? He realizes that the library is an essential part of his support system. Working with the public at the circulation desk develops social skills and strength of character that benefit his musical career. Literacy gained through the Lancaster Community Library's book collection has most definitely empowered his life, especially with creating the lyrics of his songs. We are so proud of this young man, and we really enjoy watching his musical career grow. He may eventually have to leave the library due to his recording and touring commitments, yet he knows that the people at the library always have his back and that we will always care about him and support him. It takes a village to raise a child is a well-known proverb, and in this case, the Lancaster Community Library was that village for this child. We are so proud of the part the library has played in this young person's path to becoming a productive, positive member of society. So I thank you for your time and consideration, and I'll turn it back over to Ann.
So, sort of to wrap it up, your increased support would not be just an allocation. We think it would be an investment in the future Lancaster Community Library's efforts, especially as we focus on literacy. To have children discovering the joy of reading, to have the adults building new skills, such as learning about scams, and bringing family resources to help parents help their children be more successful. Thank you for considering our request. I believe you received a letter earlier requesting $150,000, and for your ongoing commitment for the community that we serve. By standing with us, you help ensure that our library remains vital, and it is vital, and we'd like to keep it that way. So, thank you very much. Please, questions?
Any questions? All right.
Yes,
Thank
we're
you,
lucky
ladies.
to have Vera on our board, too. She gets around, Billy.
The only question, and Alice answered that, I was wondering about the endowment, but you all are tapping into the endowment.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
We do normally every year for our operational expenses, and then for the capital projects, we're drawing even more this year.
So we prepared a capital reserve to the year 2050 with the help of our finance person, taking a look at every aspect of our, how old of a building is it?
16.
16-year-old building. And that's been very, very helpful. We've also done a risk management, created a risk management tool to monitor all of the things that could possibly go wrong. I don't know, with those of you working in the government, I'm sure you've had to do some of those things. And we're requiring our board to review that every 6 months, as well as participate in the decisions around the capital investments that we need to make. So we're trying to be as judicious and do our due diligence with the funds that we have.
All right.
Okay?
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, gentlemen.
Kind of hesitant to, I think, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. We're going to hold this one. All right. All right, next on our agenda is Dwight Forrester presenting for the Youth Club of Lancaster County.
Good evening.
Good evening, Dwight.
And good to see everyone again this year. I'll just start with a few little things. Maybe we'll hit home with you guys, but if you build it, they will grow. So much like our county is growing, much like our schools, much like a lot of our programs, we're seeing a lot of activity in sports, especially down at Dreamfields here in the last few years. And what we mean by that is we got a state champions this year out of our Little League program. Our senior girls softball, one that excelled through the district, went all the way to the state tournament, and then went to represent us at the Southeast Regional Little League tournament in Nashville, Tennessee. So that was a huge accomplishment for our program and for the county. With that, right on their heels, I had the opportunity this year to coach with the junior boys, and we excelled through District 15 tournament, went on out to the state tournament, and as far as, we stayed in West Virginia because there were no hotels where we were in Virginia. But so we had an outstanding program this year, just by the numbers. We had over 20 teams, 8 divisions, over 200 and some kids. That's just our Little League. That's the baseline Little League program. With that, I'll talk about some other things going on that I think it's important to bring you guys up to speed. We had an inaugural summer sandlot program this year, which is really cool, that we had numerous amount of kids, 7 and under. And we had never seen participation like this from young families, and that was tremendous. And then we also hosted three separate tournaments from teams coming from Southwest Virginia, Northern Virginia, on down in Virginia Beach, Hampton Roads areas, and that's which brings us up to this upcoming weekend. So if traffic's a little heavy in town, we're sorry. We're having another huge tournament. It's the Wells Fargo Invitational this year. Opening ceremonies for that kick off tomorrow night, and we'll have tournament play throughout the weekend. And we couldn't do that without the support of the county and also our local businesses, hotels. The influx of people that we're bringing in to the county is just tremendous. I think we're filling up all the Airbnbs that the county has to offer. And with that, something even larger than those tournaments that we've seen is we are hosting, I don't know if you've heard, but we are hosting the 2026 Junior Baseball State Tournament this year. I don't know when, and Don or Bill or Craig, when the last time it was hosted on this side of Virginia, so to speak, less, Lancaster County. I don't think it's ever been, a state tournament's ever been hosted in our county. And so I want to highlight that because what we do at the ballpark is we take pride in our facilities to grow for our community and for our kids. And I think we were chosen because of that, because of the facilities that we have and, the lot of, I'll say, sweat equity and partnerships, fundraising efforts, and support from the county that we get, highlights that the facility that we have. So, and then, that's just a small segment of what we do. Then we switch gears to what we have going on right now, middle school teams, our middle school baseball, softball programs kicking off, utilizing the fields, JV, boys and girls, and our varsity teams kicking off. So we're playing ball in Kilmarnock tonight. This is the third game in my son's entire career that I've missed. So for you guys tonight. So with that, we're asking for level funding, and what we're using. So our fundraising efforts, we've had tremendous support for the fundraising efforts. Last year and hopefully again this year. If you haven't got your tickets for our upcoming opening day raffle, they're coming up. And so, with that, our operation and maintenance budget is just tremendous with the park. We've heard things of HVACs going up, and we've experienced that and equipment and a new reel mower to cut the grass at the ballpark is $80,000. It's crazy stuff. So, but again, we're doing very well. Our high school field, varsity field, we call it the boys' field. That's starting to see some issues. It's very unlevel. It's starting to hold water. inhibiting practice the last few weeks. So we're going to be redoing that field this fall, just as soon as regular play and tournament play is over. We're going to re-level, and that's a major undertaking in itself amidst the other projects that we have going on with ADA compliant restrooms, facilities, and our sewer and septic updates. So we have those two projects going on, and with the regular maintenance. And we are looking at, in the future, we rent right now an indoor, I don't know if you all know, we rent an indoor facility for practice, partially to help the high school boys and girls and JV boys and girls teams. So when it does rain, hey, we don't miss practice. We can go to, we call it the Cage. It's a building in Whitestone. We rent that. We're looking at building one ourselves, or transforming, some of our facilities there to hold that, because that's a big deal, especially when we have so many teams every day trying to get into practice or trying to get into space. And that's it. And while the Boys and Girls Club left, they had an awesome event. They hosted the Athletic Boosters Club this past, was it Friday or Saturday night? I'm not sure. But that was another tremendous event. So again, a lot of same faces, but we couldn't do it without your help and support, and the community that we live in is such a great community. And so we just want to say thank you so much for your continued support. We hope to see you out there April the 10th, opening day, and we're having our big raffle. Wells Fargo tournament this weekend. Stop by if you want. And then July 9th, so right after the 4th of July holiday, another influx will be coming in for opening ceremonies for our state, maybe it's our first ever hosted state tournament here at Dreamfield. So we are really looking forward to
You're
that.
going to need a lot of volunteers for that.
We're going to need a lot of volunteers for that.
What's you mentioned it already, kind of. These guys really probably don't know, but the connection for the sewer, where's that timeline? Because Don and myself, we kind of know what's happening there. But
so
with the state tournament coming in, I know some of the problems we had over there.
Yes. Yeah. Really, we've been meeting, and we're trying to make the decision whether we go with a more costly system, which is the gravity system, and not a pump, but because of maintenance. We're trying to do it the right way the first time, to less impact and less to deal with in the future. So we're trying to utilize a gravity system to go from the backside of what we call the Hayden building, across the road. So we have two contractors in the area. One's a retired contractor who's kind of helping us through this process, and then the contractor that we're going to use that's going to help us put this in. So they have been talking and meeting, and with all the activity going on right now on both sides of the road, I think that's the holdup, is we're just waiting for that perfect set of time when everything else is done. We can move some equipment in, and also we don't want to, with the amount of play and the ballpark is full every day. So I would imagine it'll be directly after the season, or when the season starts to wrap up towards All-Stars. That would probably be a perfect time for us.
So you won't have it in place for the...
We won't have the bathrooms in place, the new bathrooms in place for the state tournament, we've seen 500 to 1,000 people there and made out okay. So there's some preventative things that we're going to do for that, right? So we're going to have our system, cleaned and pumped prior to the tournament weekend. That's something that, it's a cost, but if we do that, and then for a lot of the tournaments that we went to, we'll probably be renting some additional equipment And I don't know if there's any way possible that we can work that in and get that hookup online. That would be great to do that before. And I'm thinking once baseball ends, I mean, you know, into May, June, we may have some time there to, you know, 6-8 days to knock it in. And this community never lets us down, you know, so that's one thing that we'll end on. Any questions for me? And thank you for your time.
Yep, thank you.
Do you know where the Spanish mackerel tournament is going to be this year?
We do know where the Spanish mackerel tournament is going to. So it's same thing. We actually, and the Spanish mackerel tournament is growing, especially in Northern Neck, Middle Peninsula, for all the anglers that are here and that come here, and our special anglers that travel from you know, across the state to come and fish this tournament. So it's going to be, and my wife will shoot me for not knowing this date because she's in charge of it. It's going to be the same week as it was last week.
So it's probably the last Saturday in July?
That's right. We moved it up
Yeah.
because school is you know, and most of our teachers are volunteers. So it'll be that last week in July. And the other thing is, we're looking at another event with that. There's such an outcry. So many people love to come to the captain's meeting, and we're growing. So we're looking at going to a local business or to host the awards ceremony part instead of coming back to the park to host, you know, the awards part of that tournament. And again, I think we're growing. We're one of the largest fishing tournaments on the Chesapeake Bay, right here in the county, done at Dreamfield. So that's also something to kind of be proud of.
And what's the date of that tournament?
It's gonna be the. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Everybody good with that? Okay, all right. Good. All right, next on our agenda with the Broadband Authority is Keith Kidd.
Good evening. Thank you, gentlemen.
Good evening, Keith.
Everybody's got internet, right?
Yeah.
First of all, I would start out with saying that we were very fortunate last year in that emergency services wanted to take our place on the tower. So because of that, we didn't encounter the costs of removing antenna from the tower. So that is a reason why we were under budget for last year. And it was significant because they would have had to bring in a crane for us because they were replacing the antenna. It was all good. Because of that, and because we've been successful with the BEAD project for 2026, as you know, we're going to pass another 892 homes in the county. So with that, we're moving into a new stage, I think, for the Broadband Authority. Perhaps it's the last stage, I don't know yet. We will have covered the county by the end of this year. I'm told that we will have those 890 homes. The 2 homes I'm not sure of, but certainly they will be done by then as well. The point I'm making is that the funding that I've asked is reduced. This year, I'm only requesting roughly 50%. It's actually a little less than 50% of the funding we've had in previous years. The rationale for that is we have some cleanup activities that are associated with aging projects that are no longer in play. And I'm suspicious that we're going to have to remove some devices from the network because of that. I have left other things, elements in there as a need, but not necessarily, like our legal fees. I have no immediate plans to use those legal fees. However, it's a buffer in case something comes up. So that's the rationale for reducing it. We're actually going to over last year, we will increase by 892 homes since we didn't get anything done in 2025. VATI closed out all that activity was in play. So this year is cleanup. Any questions?
No?
No more than the first one I asked. Everybody's got in. I'm good.
All right, thank you, Keith.
Thank you,
I
gentlemen.
appreciate that. Are y'all good with it? Go good, okay, all right. Next item on the agenda is, we've got the Northern Neck Soil and Water Conservation District, Kelly Brand and Brandon Dilliston. And Lewis Walker.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I've been before you before. At the end of last year, our operations manager retired, and I would like to introduce our new operations manager, Kelly Brandon.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So, as Lewis mentioned, my name is Kelly Brand, and I am the new District Operations Manager for Northern Neck Soil and Water. And also accompanying me is Brandon Dilliston, our District Technical Manager. And like Lewis said, he's one of our directors alongside Aaron Rowland for Lancaster County. I want to thank you all for providing us the opportunity to come and speak before you this evening. I would like to start off by saying thank you for your generous and continuous support Lancaster County provides the Northern Neck Soil and Water. Each year, we request an equal amount of funding from each of the 4 Northern Neck localities that we serve. These funds are used to support our local education and outreach efforts, as well as daily operational needs. For fiscal year 2027, we are requesting level funding. Currently, our office consists of 6 full-time staff overseen by a board of directors, and this board consists of 8 elected directors and 2 appointed directors. And I would like to take this time to highlight a few efforts supported by Northern Neck Soil and Water specific to Lancaster County. So this past fiscal year, over 30,000 acres of cropland participated in our best management practices through the Virginia Agricultural Cost Share Program. 10 living shoreline projects with over $200,000 were implemented in Lancaster County, and 1 conservation landscaping project through the Virginia Conservation Assistance Program, also known as VCAP. Our technical staff completed the 2 Chesapeake Bay Preservation Act ag assessments. We coordinated and staffed 2 HHW events totaling in 54,383 pounds of household hazardous and electronic waste. We hosted our annual producer conference at the Upper Lancaster Volunteer Fire Department last May. And then we provided an educational lesson for the Chesapeake Bay Academy students during a field trip to Millwood Produce in Warsaw. And then we've also provided 3 professional development trainings in partnership with Friends of the Rappahannock for environmental educators within the Northern Neck and surrounding areas. And then this past weekend, we just had our first HHW event of the year. And I just got those numbers actually as I was leaving the office this afternoon. And we had our second biggest event we've had ever in Lancaster County, which was 24,000 pounds of household hazardous waste. So this year we did something, I don't know where they're finding it, but this year we did something different, and we did 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. In the past, we've done 9 to 2, and I really think this was a great move because I think we had 3 cars come back after 12 o'clock with a time change, and we took them anyways because they came while we were eating lunch. So, but yeah, we appreciate everything Lancaster County has done for us and continues doing for us. And if you have any questions, or Brandon, you have anything? Kind of spit that out pretty fast. Sorry.
I don't have much. We do have $9.7 million in ag cost share approved right now for this year. So that's what I'm working on a lot right now is the $9.7 million approved to go out to ag producers in the whole Northern Neck. So.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
According to DEQ, our conservation program reduced nitrogen runoff into the bay by a little over 2 million pounds. 4,000 pounds of phosphate and almost 3 million pounds of sediment.
All right.
That's huge.
Yeah, it's a big,
Thank you.
It's a big
Congratulations,
benefit
Kelly.
to our
Thank
area.
you. Thank you.
Thank you all. Anybody have any questions?
I'm good.
I'm good.
Define living shores for me. I should know what that is.
Living shore is for property that is on a shoreline, so on the water, and it can be a rock sill with backed up with sand and marsh grass planted into it, or we've also done oyster bags as a kind of, not a seawall, but a barrier to keep the land from erosion into the water. But we've also used oyster sentinels. So Lowry works a lot with Ranson's Nursery and Earth Resources down here, do a lot of these programs.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. All right, everybody.
And there are pictures in there. I think it's like the second to last page under the VCAP. There are living shoreline pictures in there.
Okay.
I think.
Are you gentlemen good with this?
I'm good. Yep.
Okay.
Thank
All right.
you.
Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you all.
all. Appreciate your time.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. All right, our last item on our agenda for the night is Mike McNamara with, and I hope I get all these letters right, VJCCCA-RAOOY.
I'll decipher them for you. But first of all, may I commend your guys' time management. 7:20 I was on the docket, and I looked at my phone when I pulled up, and I was like, oh my gosh.
It wasn't looking
Walking in
good.
at
It wasn't
7:20. Good evening, my name is Mike McNamara. I am the Northern Neck Program Director for the Rappahannock Area Office on Youth. We were established in the Northern Neck in 2012. And we work with court-involved as well as youth who are at risk of becoming court-involved. Our programs are funded through the Virginia Juvenile Community Crime Control Act. The grant money is funded from the 4 Northern Neck localities as well as Essex County. To qualify for VJCCCA funding, Lancaster is required to contribute a maintenance of effort of $7,908 to receive $29,530. Last year, the Rappahannock Area Office on Youth requested and received $11,425 from Lancaster County, which included the MOE, as well as small periodic increases from year to year. For the upcoming year, we are proposing a small increase of $686 to last year's request for a total request of $12,111. The programs we provide electronic monitoring, and for those who don't know, that's with the bracelets you'll see on kids' ankles. It's a cost-saving program for the counties, so you don't have to pay the $200 a day at Merrimack Juvenile Center. We provide the supervision in the community for the appropriate juvenile. We also provide community service programs and supervision where we directly go out into the field and work with the kids directly and supervise them. We provide Decision Points, which is a decision-making program. I'm happy to announce we've actually partnered with Lancaster Schools, and we're actually working with the high school and providing a Decision Points group during school hours. That started with Mr. Ferguson this past February, and we just finished up our first group. We also do anger management group, as well as a substance abuse education group. And we also have a school-based mentoring program, a school-based engagement mentoring program. FY25 was our, I don't know whether you want to say greatest, because we really don't want a lot of referrals, but it's the most referrals we've had 167 referrals for the region. This is Lancaster County's referrals jumped 39% with 25 referrals, or 17% of our regional total. It is important also to note, as I mentioned, our electronic monitoring is estimated to have saved the county approximately $26,000 in detention costs by us being allowed to keep the clients in the home rather than placing them in detention. Talk real briefly about our outcomes. 105 out of 116 participants successfully completed our programs, so that's 90%. All of our 12 programs' 12-month recidivism rates are lower than the state's rates for similar programs. What DJJ does is they break programs into categories, and we'll measure our like for example, anger management would be compared against all the anger management programs within the state. So we're happy to announce we were lower than all the state averages, as well as much lower than our probation, the 15th district probation average. We appreciate the support that Lancaster County Board of Supervisors had provided throughout the years, and we look forward to continuing to expand with more clients in FY 2026, which is currently going, or 27, which is the year we're here for today. May I take any questions?
Anybody got any questions?
No.
You mentioned that you work with Mr. Ferguson at the high school.
Yes.
Is that a part of the curriculum, or is that on a volunteer basis, or is that, does that come from the referrals?
That is a program, we do our Decision Points program, which is an evidence-based curriculum to make better decisions. And we had developed, we met with Mrs. Davis, talked about the programs we have available, and they thought they had a need for decision-making at the high school. And so Mr. Ferguson,
The school system.
the school system
places
provides the
students.
referrals, and we do the groups in the school. And we're actually in the process of starting anger management at the elementary and middle school as well, once they get the referrals in, so.
Gotcha.
So it's a new process. It's the first time we've actually worked, well, it's the second time we've worked in, we're familiar with the high schools and middle schools, but elementary will be our first time working with the younger kids. So I've been busy trying to find a new curriculum that's going to reach younger kids.
And the last question is, you mentioned that you had a success rate of like 105 of 116. What happens to the 9 that didn't complete the program?
Most of our cases have turned it throughout the years. We're now serving more diversion cases than probation cases. So what a diversion is when somebody gets in trouble, breaks the law, goes in front of the intake officer has an option, if they hadn't been charged before, to divert the case, which means he will say, or she will say, you go to the Office on Youth and you complete anger management and you complete decision points, all charges will be dropped. So if they don't, they go to court. If they're on probation, numerous things could happen. They could get more sanctions, they could end up in detention.
Well, thank you.
Sure.
Any questions? Okay. All right, thank you, sir.
All right, thank you for your time.
All right. Everybody okay with it?
I'm good with it.
Yeah, yep, okay. All right, on our agenda here, we have, is there any need for a closed meeting?
Not that I'm aware of, Mr. Chairman. If you will indulge me for just a few minutes. I've been making notes throughout the evening. I saved them all to the end to provide a little more context and clarity on a few things. First off, Mr. Bellows he texted me earlier. He and John Bateman and Olivia Hall went to Lexington today to pick up the last award that the county won, and I apologize, I can't remember what that acronym for that award was, but it was the last email that I sent to all of you all about that award. He texted me, said he was on the way back, he was listening, but that he wouldn't be able to participate. So he was involved with that. The version, the 324 version of the budget that you have in front of you includes a couple of items from the last version that was presented on March the 12th. It includes an increase in the Board of Supervisors line item budget based on the fact I had told you all that items not related to pay had not been adjusted since FY19. And so what I've done with those 3 line items is basically double them from the previous levels. They had not been adjusted in 8 years, so that's what I've put in those line items. Also, the budget in front of you includes the 1.7 hazardous duty retirement supplement that you all asked me to include in those numbers. That is the $200 and I think it was $32,000 expense to the county for adding the 15 full-time EMS personnel to that hazardous duty retirement supplement that our law enforcement personnel currently have. There is a resolution that the board must pass to enact that. I will probably hold off and bring that resolution to you at the same meeting in which you approved the budget, which would be your regular meeting in May. I'll have you approve that resolution at that same time. In conjunction with that, Matt was talking earlier about recruitment and retention and how he put in a 5% raise in his initial budget. The numbers in this budget include a 3% raise across the board for all full-time staff, but it's going to work out being 5%, and here's why. Because whichever version of the budget that the General Assembly and Governor pass, whether it's the 2% raise or the 3% raise, both versions include a 2% bonus that's effective June 1 of this year, followed by the 3% raise effective July 1 of this year. And I've explained this to Matt, and he understands it, but I want to clarify that it's not a 5% raise, it's a 3% raise along with a 2% bonus. So for 1 year, it will be 5%, and we'll worry about FY '28 next year. But
Let me ask you a question then. On Matt's, he's proposing 5%.
no, the numbers in the budget is a 3%.
Okay, 'cause
Yeah.
that's-
In his original submission, he had 5%.
Yeah.
And I've always had a problem paying different groups different amounts of raises. So to keep everything consistent, I had 3% across the board. And, but it's going to work out being a 5% for everyone, schools included, because like I said, whichever version of the state budget gets approved includes that 2% bonus for constitutional officers and their staffs. And like and like I always do, I'll come to you probably at the June meeting and ask you to match that for the 56% of county staff that is not comp board funded. So it'll work out being 5% for FY '27. Just want to make that clarification for you. The Bay Aging, we were talking, and I know Mr. Smith brought up the fact that about the housing need and how the county and Bay Aging should be talking. We have been talking. John Bateman has been talking with Alan Walker of Bay Aging for quite some time about the possibility of some affordable housing and maybe possibly utilizing the old primary school facility. So those talks are.
That's what I was leaning.
Yeah, those talks are ongoing. I don't know how much those two gentlemen knew about that, but those talks have been going on for quite some time. And the last thing I'm going to say is that you heard Kelly Brand bring up about the two ag assessments that the Northern Neck Soil and Water Conservation District does for the county each year as part of our Chesapeake Bay program compliance. They do those. We will need to update our memorandum of understanding that we have with the Soil and Water Conservation District for those ag assessments, and I'll have that before you at a future meeting. So,
I got a request, Don, if you can check on the Haven. Can you check and see what the other counties are contributing to the Haven? And also, I'm a little bit, I don't know, that 800 and some nights are kind of bothering me a little bit. How many nights did Richmond County use? How many nights did Northumberland use? Seems like to me that's a high number to me for Lancaster County.
okay.
Maybe it's not, I don't know, but.
You're suspicious.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll see what I can find out.
See what you can find out.
Yeah. And you all kind of paused, I think it was 3.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Boys and Girls Club now, last year, we went from 45 to 50.
Yeah.
We went from 45 to 50. So this year, you're asking us to go from 50 to 65.
I think it's that mandate that you were talking
Well,
about.
yeah, but when you look at his written stuff, he's talking about, the freeze that happened with the federal government and all that, and they froze the funds for a while, didn't send out
But
stuff.
I think he was saying that at the national level of the Boys and Girls Club, there's more of a direction for the localities to fundraise and find local monies versus the money coming from the top. and I think it's putting them in a bind. Just a tough decision for us to
Well,
make.
My thoughts is level funded. We've increased it, level funded, because if we raise theirs, we're gonna have to go back and raise the Ys.
Well, we haven't never raised the Y.
I know.
We never raised them from the existing.
I know, but we started off with 50.
We started off with 50, and we've been 50 ever since,
Yeah.
2004.
I guess the question we need to ask though is if what does it mean for the local Boys and Girls Club? Does that mean that he's gonna have to cut programs because there won't be federal?
He won't have to cut programs. And if it does happen, then come back then.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen.
No.
I mean, that's a 30% increase. That's a heck of a lot in 1 year. Now, I realize they may have had some issues in those things, but I don't know, it just looks like a lot to me. And when I'm always looking at the percentage change, because I looked at the fire departments, I told Don, I looked at that at first, it's 24%, but when you figure it's 3 fire departments, 8%, that didn't give me as much heartburn as this one did. 30% on one group seemed like a lot to me. But that's me, I'm always looking at the percentages, so.
I'm in favor of level funding.
I am too. That's where I was at. I said, maybe, the library's in the same situation. You know.
Yeah, it is.
We raised them $17,000 last year. They was at 132, they asked for 150. That's why I'm not sure how they use the endowment. I'm glad to see that they are using it, but a lot of places take a certain percentage anyhow from the endowment.
Right.
3% or something like a year for operating expenses. So I don't know what their number are, but.
I actually had at the library, we gave them a little increase, like 3% last year.
Yeah.
And then they're asking for 9.5 this year.
This year.
Is
Yeah.
what I had, looking at it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I remember since I've been on here, they ask a pretty decent increase every year.
Every year they do.
Every year.
Yeah.
And again, I guess because of our budget, I'm thinking level fund on them as well.
I wouldn't have an issue with that.
I felt hard sometimes. I felt hard for, against them really was a couple of years because I thought they were unfair the way they was coming. So we held them back a little bit, but then they came back and we gave them increases. The same way as for the Boys and Girls Club. I remember what it was, 30,000? I fought hard to get that up to 50. Mr. Lee and I.
Yeah.
Get that up to 50. So, but this time I think we should level fund.
Yeah, I think we should level fund the Boys and Girls Club. And I tell you, I'm not against, level funding the library. I know they're doing a lot of work. I mean, I saw, she said 9 units up there, but I didn't want to ask them what their endowment is.
Right.
Cooks be sitting on 4 or 5 million.
I mean, everything.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if their
Right.
endowment was that much. It wouldn't
Right.
surprise me at all.
What'd she say, they had the endowment out to 20, did she say 2050?
I think they had a capital improvement group out that far, yeah.
2050, I heard her say something.
Yeah, they was looking at, what the building gonna need or whatever, they're trying to figure out.
For capital. So,
So you need these commitments now? or-
No, I don't. I mean, you all may add a few Thursday night, and then you'll have a meeting on April the 9th before you adopt a school budget, where you can iron out these last few items if you like. And hopefully, Mr. Bellows will be here, and you'll have a full board to, kick these things around, unless you all,
Well, I would say that we don't have to make that kind of decision, because Jason ought to have some input into it, so.
Okay.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, so we'll just carry those 3 over,
Yeah,
and
probably have some more add to it Thursday night.
maybe.
All right, so do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Yeah, you're going to adjourn to Thursday at 5 o'clock.
All right,
All right, moving adjourned to Thursday.
all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed.